of here, understand? You included.
Hello, everybody out there in YouTube land. It's your T-shirted historian. Welcome to another week in Geek. Wow, a lot happened since Tuesday. So we had Cynthia Williams resign as from D&D. That's or from WotC, I should say. That was something I was not expecting. We'll talk about that a little bit today. Let's see. What else do we have? We have, like I said, a lot of stuff kept happening this week, and it was just kind of like, the Golden Axe animated series on Comedy Central. Yeah, okay, that's coming up. That's new. Mullet Mad Jack finally got a release date. Thank you. Awesome. Todd Howard did confirm that the Shady Sands was nuked after the events of Fallout New Vegas. I have a little bit to say about that. I'll get to that in a second. Apparently, Scott Snyder is rumored to be helming the new Absolute DC, which is supposed to be an Ultimates style DC, which means it'll be edgy and all that, which is... I'm sure everybody wants to see Superman deconstructed again for, I don't know, the 15th time or so. And I don't know how you can make Batman any more edgy unless he just actually starts killing people. So... I don't know, but yeah, it was a hell of a week since Tuesday. I was very surprised. So here we are. It's Saturday. We're gonna talk about some of this stuff, but first, let me get around to the whole Shady Sands thing on Fallout. And this is mostly a clip I'm putting together for Animane to use. I know a lot of the old hardcore faithful are probably just absolutely livid about that becoming canonized. But I'm pretty sure I said this last week, and I maintain this. Be glad it happened. Honestly, I know it sucks, but considering how much most of you guys hated Fallout 3 and hated Fallout 4 and hate Fallout 76, and I'm not shaming any of you guys or calling any of you out for it, but considering how much you guys don't like the writing and all that stuff, would you really have been happy to see that same creative writing staff continue the NCR story development? Because I don't think you would have been happy about it at all. I think you'd have been very upset. You would have been constantly posting where this or that didn't make sense, or that didn't line up with the canon in Fallout 1 or 2 or New Vegas. And you'd have been more upset about it. And I'm not calling you out for it. I'm not saying, oh, well, you guys suck because of that. No, I'm not at all. That's not my thing. I'm just saying it sucks, but it would have sucked either way for you. It honestly would have. And I'm not defending Todd Howard. I'm not defending Bethesda. I'm not defending big Microsoft. None of that. I mean, I think it sucks. But at the same time, I'm also kind of glad that they just decided to just cut off that entire avenue instead of continuing to try to tell that story. because I think they would have butchered it anyway. So just let them do what they're going to do. I mean, chances are you're probably not going to enjoy the next Fallout anyway. I mean, I'm just being honest. You'll play it just like I will. You may not enjoy it as much as I will because I'm a little bit less of a Fallout 1 and 2 junkie. But I still like Fallout. I still like the Fallout universe and what it's got to offer. I didn't like everything about the show. I had problems with it, but I don't know. Overall, I still think it's going to be fun. I mean, how much fun is it, to stick a baby doll in the end of a gun and shoot somebody to death with it, or a teddy bear? Come on. Or just the craziness of the super mutants, or having to go head to head with a death claw, or how cool the power armor is now. I mean, there's a lot to like about that series still, even if they did mess up all the canon. But I understand and I empathize, guys. I really do. Because something similar to that kind of happened with Star Wars, didn't it? We had everything we liked about Star Wars, and then a new group took over and completely drove Star Wars into the dirt. And we are now at the point where I don't care about Star Wars anymore. I don't buy their stuff. I don't watch their stuff. All I do is literally point a finger at it, poke fun at it, and laugh and go on. And I don't give them my money. Honestly, that's the best thing you can do. If you don't like what Bethesda's going to do with Fallout, if you don't like what they're going to do with the lore, don't buy it. I mean, I know it sucks, but the modding community is still pretty strong. For New Vegas, there's still lots of good stuff coming out for New Vegas that people are doing with the mods. Some people are taking older versions of Fallout, like Fallout 4, and adding new stuff into that will be a little bit more New Vegas and lore friendly. Hopefully it'll be good. There's Fallout London coming up. There's still lots of good stuff out there. And if you just decide that this is where the train ends for you with Fallout and Bethesda, then, I'm sorry, guys, but, happy trails. Find you something else that's fun, too. Don't just deprive yourself of having a good time because they killed all the lore for it. Find something else you're gonna enjoy, because I don't think you're gonna get back what you had in Fallout 1 and 2. And I'm pretty sure we're not going to get another Fallout New Vegas. That team is not coming back. They're moving on to other stuff. They're already talking about Board in the Galaxy 2, or whatever the hell it's called. I don't know. The first one was so boring, I honestly can't remember it. But let's hope they do better with the next one. Anyway, so today I had a problem. I had no hosts. I had no Grim. I had no Ironcaster. So I started reaching around the internet going, who can I get to guest host this with me? And sure enough, Double D was available. So, bam.
The B squad is here.
The B squad is here.
The backup quarterback holding the clipboard gets called in.
That's right. That's right. And of course, I was surprised, but we have our dear sweet Harmony Ginger.
Hello. I appear when you least expect me.
Indeed. And we have our Dutch representation, Victor, who is also an old school Fallout lore hound. So.
Yeah. That's why I do have a big gripe about Shady Sands.
I'm sure. But like I said, would you rather have seen Bethesda continue the narrative?
No, but my gripe is that they completely moved the location like 300 miles, and it's stupid.
That's a good gripe.
All of a sudden, it's like in LA. Like, no, it was like literally to the east of San Francisco in the original. Like, it's like that's like a 300-mile difference.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, it's just in the ruins of LA. It's like, no, that's dumb.
And I figure, enough people have probably seen it all the way to the end now, so that they have seen the New Vegas part of it. So I'm guessing the canonical ending for New Vegas is that House got the chip and pushed out the NCR and probably pushed back Caesar's Legion. So
I don't know, because it also showed New Vegas kind of being like in ruins. So I don't know what they did with that.
I don't know. New Vegas was always kind of a ruin, wasn't it?
Yeah, but not after Mr. House takes over. His whole plan was to like make it nice.
Yeah. There's no telling. I'm excited for season 2. I think it'll be good. How about you guys? Have you been watching Fallout?
I've seen the first episode, but not
I have
past
not
that
yet.
yet.
Don't like it that much?
I finished
I'm-
it a while back.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I finished.
I'm group watching it with friends, and we're going like
Oh.
one episode a week, so I can't Netflix cheat on them or Amazon cheat. So,
It'll be a while then.
Mhm.
So, Greg, what did you think?
I loved it. I don't really care about the lore. It's not like Lord of the Rings, where
Mm-hmm.
there's something that has to be said for it being accurate to Tolkien's vision of verisimilitude for Middle Earth. It's just, it's a different thing. It's Fallout. It's a video game. Lore changes don't bother me. I thought it was fun.
yeah.
Mhm.
I mean,
Well, you could
go
go ahead, Harmony.
Oh, if you remember, like back in the old Fallout games, there was a TARDIS in Fallout 1. Like, I don't think that Black
but-
Isle has ever taken the lore of Fallout incredibly seriously. Now, I haven't seen the series, so I don't know entirely how much it was butchered. I will say I can't consider myself a Fallout fan. I love Fallout New Vegas. It's one of my favorite video games of all time. And Fallout 1 was pretty good too, but I didn't really like the rest of them. So
Well, to be fair, those random encounters were just kind of like funny Easter eggs.
Yeah.
You weren't really supposed to take them as canon. But yeah,
sure, yeah. But I mean, and I love the game, don't get me wrong. I'm just saying that it's always been a little bit on the gonzo side.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And another thing I've commented on in the chat before, it's like there's a bunch of people that I've seen on Twitter who absolutely hate it right out of the gate without watching it because they think it's like woke SJW trash.
Yes.
And I'm like, I don't really understand that. Like, is it? Like, I watched the whole series and
there's
And
some
I
there's
didn't
some
really.
elements.
You can't
maybe
blame
there's
people-
a little bit, but it's not like it doesn't seem to have an agenda.
Well, it's happened so often though. You can't blame people
Yeah.
for at least thinking that it's a possibility. So it
Right,
may not.
right.
It may not. May very well not be that way. But these days, it's like these properties don't get the benefit of the doubt anymore.
There's definitely some woke elements, but
Yes.
they're not nearly as egregious as some other shows.
I think
Yeah.
it's the Rings of Power.
Like, you're-
It's,
Yeah.
expected.
Oh.
You almost
Yeah.
have to accept that
But
these
you-
days. Like if
Yeah,
it only has
exactly.
a smattering, it's like, well, okay,
Yeah.
I'll plug my nose and just go
Yeah,
with it.
exactly.
Well,
But then
one thing-
there's shows like The Witcher, and those are just full blown
Oh.
woke. So yeah, so we get to
Yeah.
see.
That was awful. I was actually thinking about this the other day. I thought we could actually watch Grim die on stream by subjecting him to watching Rings of Power one episode at a time. So we'd actually comment on it live and just keep a heart monitor on him and spot the exact moment by which his
He
blood
clocks out.
pressure boils to the point where he dies.
I wouldn't even log on for that. I'd probably just
no.
go hang myself.
My wife was watching it. I watched for like 10 minutes. I'm like, is this serious? And she's like, eh. She just shrugged her shoulders. I said, well, have fun. I'm out.
And oh my gosh, look who popped up.
Hi.
Hello.
He's part of the
Liar.
tracksuit
Said
mafia.
he wasn't going to be here, and now he's here.
Yeah, I sort of lost track of time, and I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna get together with some family later." And I'm like, "Wait, what time are we getting together?" Oh,
I can do this.
Well, it's good. It's all good. Everybody's kind of got their beers today, which is good. I got mine, and you can look at YouTube. You can't see me drinking on stream, so you can't clock me for that.
My beer is
doesn't
in a
even have
plastic
a
bottle.
mouth.
They don't
I'm a
clock you
fancy
for
man.
that stuff. Good old Pennsylvania beer here.
Oh,
is that
there you go.
Youngling?
Youngling. I've heard that's good.
Well, like I said, my beer is in a plastic bottle because I'm a fancy man.
So that's
Jeez.
I can't believe they put beer in plastic bottles. It just seems wrong.
I like
somehow.
it because it makes it not go flat. I can just close it when I'm doing something else, and yeah.
Can you imagine
Sacrilege.
buying beer in like one of those plastic pouches that like they put the milk in for elementary school. You put the straw in.
Freestyle.
Yeah.
I grew up like poor. I used to like literally drink like beer that just said beer on it, and that didn't even have like a branding or anything. It was just like a white can, and then in blue it said beer. So like I'm not used to much. I drink wine from cartons. Like it doesn't
Beer.
matter how
Oh,
much
no.
money I have.
Much.
I just I'm
The way you phrase that, Victor, you're like, yeah, back when I was 10, I drank beer that just said beer on it.
I'm like 12.
He probably did.
I started pretty young.
It's a
I was going
European
to bars
thing.
with my dad when I was 14. So yeah.
Well, I got a tiny bit of show and tell for this week. I'll keep it brief, but it'll be a nice segue into something I wanted to ask Double D about anyway. So, this is the tiny bit I got. As you know, I backed Gene Funk. Of course, I already had the main book, so I ordered a second one. But their Dark Forest came in, so I'm all caught up on it. I still like this for 5th edition just because it does some really cool stuff with the characters, and it almost gets into the realm of being able to play monsters as characters. Not quite, but almost. And it is cyberpunk, so.
Yeah, I like Gene Funk.
Yeah. I do too.
Who makes that?
Well,
This is
remember.
created by CRISPR Monkey.
I have that one, and I have like the other Cyberpunk 5e game that I can't remember the name of.
Crisp.
Carbon.
Yeah, I have that
Carbon
one.
2185.
Very glossy.
Yeah, it is.
Mhm. I like his name. It's clever.
CRISPR Monkey?
Mhm.
I actually managed to find a copy of this,
Oh, nice.
and it wasn't at ass rape prices.
Shame.
Yeah, because everybody knows that these are out of print now, and they're hiking the prices like to ridiculous degrees.
That's the Goodman Games thing, right?
This is the Goodman Games. What I didn't know is this is Into the Unknown B1 and Keep on the Borderlands B2. So it's actually 2 modules in one. And you do get the original, and then you get the updated stuff. The nice thing is they did include a list of possible encounters for B1, which is what always pissed me off about the original.
I have that too. I wish I would have gotten the DC. It was back when I was playing 5th edition, so I kind of wish I would have at least gotten like the DCC version of it.
I also have
It's-
that one. Got the
It's
first
worth
3
it.
of them.
It is good. It is a cool book. I mean, it is.
Hey, Squeaka.
I kind of wanted it, but I couldn't find PDFs of it. And,
Hey, Delver.
Hey.
Yep. Well, I was lucky to get it. Like I said, the funny thing is, everybody I know is such a big fan of Keep on the Borderlands, and I had it way back in the day. I don't remember what was so special about it back in the day, but to this day, there are so many YouTubers and other people who will hold that up as like the cream of the crop, pinnacle, the one adventure that they must have and should run.
Even Victor is going to do a version for
Yes.
Modern Necessities.
Yes, even Victor's doing it.
Bunker
So-
of the Badlands, right?
Yeah, Bunker in the Badlands.
Yeah.
It's because it was packed into the magenta box. I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, you open the box, that's your first adventure. Boom, you're good to go. So that's why it just has that sort of dug-in nostalgia.
It was in the
Yeah.
right place at the right time.
It
I mean, it's
just-
good. It's
simple.
solid, but I mean,
Yeah.
it's not the best adventure ever. No, but it's good.
It's simple. You have a home base. You have like a little bit of a hex map. You have like a dungeon to explore and fight in. You have like some other random encounters, and then you can just like sprinkle in your own stuff if you want. And yeah,
Pre-Yark.
Yeah, but it's like who is it? Professor Dungeon Master uses it like as the basis for one of his campaigns. Every time if you like put out the call on Twitter for like the top, I don't know, 5 modules ever printed out by TSR. Lost City usually makes it. Ravenloft usually makes it, but Keep on the Borderlands always makes it, at least in one of those slots somewhere.
I know Greg Gillespie uses it like for his like super dungeons, like Barrel
Yeah.
Maze and that, he uses kind of the same formula. Like, okay, have this epic, dungeon or whatever, but also have like a town that you can go back to, that you can rest, you can restock. You don't, so you're not always compelled to just stay there and die. So it's a good formula. It really is.
And that's kind of where my segue was going to go, because I wanted to ask you about old Greg Gillespie.
Oh yeah, old Greg. He's doing okay. He's supposed to come down here in the summertime. We're gonna get together. So we'll do some gaming, have some fun. Maybe we'll do a little streaming.
Well, this week, I actually was talking to my folks in my own chat, and I was telling them that I was looking really, really hard at Dragon Slayer, because I noticed you're advertising it on your channel, and I love the artwork. I think the artwork is super duper member-berry, wonderful, heavy duty, old school style artwork. I mean, he even got some of the original people to work on it, like Darlene.
Yeah, whenever he does a book, he tries to get as many ex-TSR people as he can.
Mm-hmm. But all the reviews and everything I've heard about it is they all just say the same thing. It's like it's BX with some AD&D stuff crammed into it and some homebrew rules. It's not worth $100 or actually it's not worth $80 as a POD and $30 as a PDF. So,
well,
I wanted to hear it from you.
It depends on, I think Greg he'd tell you the same thing. Like, absolutely. It's like halfway between BX and first edition. I mean, look, you could say the same thing about Old School Essentials. And if you want to get the same thing in Old School Essentials, where you're buying the original, the basic, and then if you want to do the advanced fantasy, now all of a sudden you're up sort of near the same price. The artwork in this it's really good. It does have a lot of member berries, but I mean, I don't know.
That's awesome.
I like the art.
And it's not just like, a couple of pages. Like, there's artwork on every page. Like, I mean, it's like the old monster manual.
Yeah.
There's a complete monster manual in here, and every monster has its own piece of art. As far as the rules go, it is very stripped down. He even admits, he's like, I wanted a rule set that that kind of worked with what he had already done, like with Barrow Maze and that, because that's how he wrote those kind of legendary mega dungeons. So there's as far as like anything like innovative, no, it is derivative, and he'd tell you that. On the other hand, for something that's inspirational, I mean, if you're going to do any kind of like a game, and like, let's say you don't have Old School Essentials. I mean, if you have Old School Essentials and you're content with it, then yeah, maybe there's no reason to get this other than the art. But if you're just kind of dipping your toe in, and you're like, hey, I want to go back and play an old school, kind of BX game, I would say you could do, you couldn't do much worse than this. I mean, or much better than this. I mean, it's solid. It's got the core of solid game to it. So.
Yeah, the only thing I would really try to compare it to as a similar book or anything like that would probably be Labyrinth Lord.
Yes. Yeah, and I know Greg was kind of, I don't know if he was friendly with those guys or not at one time. But yeah, I know he thought a lot of, at least at one point, I thought he thought a lot of that system.
Yeah,
so I was told it's basically BX, but like completely geared towards like dungeon crawling and stuff. It doesn't have anything about like domain play and all that stuff. It's just like go into a dungeon, kill monsters, get XP, and so
much.
If you like that, then yeah. If you want like
Exactly.
domain play and all that stuff, then there's other options, I suppose.
Yeah. Yeah, look, if you want like more in-depth stuff in that regard, get Axe too, and like I said, I think Greg would tell you that. Like, yeah, this is for kind of an old school experience. We're talking about Keep on the Borderlands. That's this would fit in perfectly with this. One thing I do like, and you may have already known, but you can see that. But that's the monk. No Shaolin. It's like Occidental.
I heard a lot of people have heard say that they like what they did with the monk.
I have to tell you, I think that alone may have sold me on this book.
Yeah, me too. I was like, when he first told me, I'm like, holy shit, you actually have a proper monk in there? He's like, yeah, it's Western European. It's not. There he is.
There he is.
How is
That
everyone?
guy. We're good.
Hey.
I'm glad you made it.
Excellent.
Hello,
I'm glad
Kyle.
you. I am sorry that this was not a little bit more formal. I thought I was going to be playing kind of I say celebrity D&D game. A friend invited me to a game. Rose Estes' son was going to be on it, and then his entire studio setup went kaput this morning. So I was waiting to hear from him if he was going to fix it, and when it was clear it wasn't, I decided to make the rounds, and then I heard someone. I was triggered. Someone was talking smack about my beloved B2, and I had to get in here and defend its honor.
Yes. Come on in. Tell me, why is B2 such a one of the top 5?
B2 is such a great module because B2 encapsulates everything that a first-time DM and first-time players need to know to get started. There are combat tables, there are random encounter tables, there are thieves guild tables, there are spell tables, there are equipment prices. There is a base that the characters can function out of. There is a functioning environment of monsters for a party to fully explore, and there is room given to the DM to expand upon. The Cave of the Unknown, some people say that they slap B1 right into the Cave of the Unknown. I personally think that makes that the Keep on the Borderlands area map a little too crowded to stick B1 in there also. Because at that point it's like, it's like when you're playing Skyrim and they talk about, there's this far off haunted place and we never go there and it could be full of dangerous monsters. And it's like literally like 15 seconds of game time walking from this little village to that. So I generally kept the Cave of the Unknown for a smaller locale, usually like a fallback point for the evil cleric that heads up the Church of Evil Chaos in the cave. Ooh, spoiler alert if you haven't played B2. But everything that you need to play D&D is in that module. And I am not one of the people who got that as a pack-in module. I bought that module as a standalone. That was the first D&D book I ever had. I didn't have a rule book. I had B2 and a set of dice. And everything I needed to know was in B2, and the stuff that I didn't know, that when it would refer to pages in the rule book, I just made up. And it was amazing. And the adventure itself works on so many levels. Even if you take that away, even if you just strip it down to town, nearby dungeon, it works fantastically, because here is this environment of monsters. There's bandits to the south of the keep. There's lizard men to the south of the keep. There's a giant spider with a +1 shield on the skeleton of an elf underneath its tree. There's the mad hermit to the north of the keep. There are so many rich encounters in there, and it functions so well as a module because it sets up just enough of the essential story. You are on the fringes of the explored lands. It's like you're in a Joseph Campbell story. You have gone out into the darkness with your torch in hand and pushed that back just enough to the fringes of where civilized men are, and they're beset on all sides by darkness. But then Gary says, now over to you. All right. He doesn't drown us in pages and pages of backstory about, why is the evil cleric there? Why don't the kobolds get reinforcements? Who is the Castellan? What is the name of the evil cleric that can align himself with the party pretending to be good? And what are his motivations? He gives just enough to the nascent dungeon master to feel like they can go. It's like when you're teaching a kid to ride a bike. You don't wrap your arms around them and shuffle down the street with them when they've got a good sense of balance. You might just hold on to the seat or put your hand on their shoulder and let them go. And that is why it is. And of course, so much high Gygaxian in that module. That module is such a great expansion for your vocabulary. You know, I mean, I didn't know what a ewer was, EWER. Actually, I may have, because I read The Lord of the Rings first. But anyway, there's so many touches in there. There's the cursed images that'll appear on the walls of the Temple of the Evil Chaos. Bree Yark, you know, I mean, we all meme now, but Bree Yark, it started right in there. There's a room between two tribes of humanoids. It's a secret. It's a forgotten secret room between the two. They don't use it. In the passageway, which is capped on either end by secret doors, you can find the skeleton of an adventurer. There, all of his stuff is ruined except for his thieves' tools and his elven boots. What happened to him? How did he get there? What's the story? It's up to you as the DM to color those things in. And it's Gary really at his adventure design finest. He puts these gambits in front of players and dares them to come in and take a hold. And it scales. It scales perfectly, despite being open-ended. I mean, you can walk straight into the Caves of Chaos, climb up the ass end of the ravine, go straight into Encounter Area K, walk right down the hall, and bump into the Curate, and everybody's first level, total party kill. You know? There's nothing to say like, this door won't open until they find the 3 keys and merge them together, which are given to them by Mesron the Mighty over it. No. It is open to all players. In its design, it is perfect in that. I mean, I could think of a dozen reasons why the Caves of Chaos are there and why they're like that. My usual favorite is it was a dwarven coal mine. And when it was completely played out, they buggered off, and then monsters moved into the conveniently dug tunnels and everything like that. Or maybe they didn't, and they woke up something terrible. You know, the caves where the Shrine of Evil Chaos was created, they were actually cursed, and it drew evil monsters there. But it is perfect. It's not. It doesn't get that credit just by being the pack-in module. I mean, when I saw that cover with that gorgeous Jim Rosloff artwork, and the excellent postcard shot by Errol Otis on the back of the party arriving at the keep at sundown, and it said right there, for character levels 1 to 3. Well, that seems kind of low level. That would logically be the place to start. And it said special introductory module. I was introducing myself to D&D in a rules sense. That made perfect sense. It's not just great by default. You could have stuck any number of low-level modules in there, and I don't think that they would have been considered great just by default. Now, I'm going to take possibly an unpopular opinion here. I don't think Doug Niles against Cult of the Reptile God is a great introductory module. It's a good low-level module, but it's not a great introductory module because it is on Railroad. It is on rails. That module requires that your party have the high-level magic user from the town with you, or else the Spirit Naga in the caves at the end is going to fireball the party out of existence. And Niles says he will insist on going with the party, but all he's going to do is cast Minor Globe of Invulnerability so they don't get taken out by the fireball. That's bad module design, in my opinion. And Keep on the Borderlands does none of that. Okay. In fact, I would say later iterations of Keep on the Borderlands aren't as good as early iterations. For example, the gelatinous cube that is in the Temple of Evil Chaos has a 6-charge wand of fireballs in it. In the earlier versions, aimed at compatibility with AD&D and for use with Holmes' introductory D&D, later editions changed it from a wand of fireballs to a wand of enemy detection. I think that's a serious downgrade. That's like playing the shareware version of Doom and you find the BFG 9000 and then you pay the $20 for the full version and there's like, a chain gun there instead. Anyway,
hey, I did that. I bought the full version of Doom off of the shareware version.
There you go. There you go.
Just a thought I was kind of having while I was listening to you go on and just masterfully explain why you love that adventure so much. Just this thought popped in my head. It's like you're the Robert Meyer Burnett of tabletop role playing games. Like
pretty much.
Listen to that man.
Thank you or fuck you. I can't tell which.
No, it's good.
That's a good thing.
No, it's like it's just amazing. Like you're one of these guys who I can just sit here and listen to for hours, can wax poetically on about these subjects. Where I'll sit here like I'm never gonna be able to quite talk as eloquent as you might on just why you might love just the most niche of adventures. Like I love to get I almost want to start kind of priming you to go and tell me about Pharaoh, tell me about other adventures, etc. It's like I want to hear more of this.
Well, I do have one actually that he'll probably like.
Channel,
Yeah, he does have a channel.
you can watch me on YouTube,
The last of my show and tell this week, and I want to preface this first. I never had a chance to speak to Janelle Jaquays. I wanted to. For some reason, she had me blocked on Twitter, which I don't know why. I never had any interactions with her. And then, of course, she passed away, which was unfortunate. And then I, went through her list of books and found out how few of them I really own or ever read. I mean, I had Orion Rising, but that was for Top Secret SI. Mm-hmm. I have Central Casting, Heroes for Tomorrow and Heroes of Legend, because I love the Central Casting books. Those things were just awesome. But as far as anything for D&D, I didn't have anything. So
did you have deities and demigods?
Well, I did have that.
Then the entire Lankmar chapter was done by Janelle.
Okay. So, but anyway, I sought to remedy it, so I got this.
Oh, Dark, that is lovely. That is lovely. We actually did a multi-episode last year. We did a multi-show deep dive of Dark Tower. You might want to seek out. It was it was quite enlightening. I didn't get into third-party products much when I was a kid, but Dark Tower has definitely got some got some grit to it, and I quite enjoyed the deep dive we did on it.
Oh, I absolutely love this thing. It's got the original, of course, but it also has the expansion, and it has some extra adventures and stuff. It's awesome.
Does it include Duck Tower?
I don't know. I didn't see it having Duck Tower, but
oh, okay. Well, Duck Tower was a version for Glorantha.
For RuneQuest?
Or RuneQuest, I'm sorry. Yes, RuneQuest. There are duck people.
Yeah, the ducks.
In Dragonbane, too.
Well, that's a Swedish thing. That's apparently that's part of Swedish culture. I don't know why, but apparently they love duck people. I don't know. Maybe Howard the Duck, that 80s movie, was a big hit there. I don't know, but...
Yeah, there'd be a fun thing. Go to a Star Wars meet and greet and ask Lucas to autograph a copy of Howard the Duck on DVD.
Well, what was cool is this is one thing I found out, and some of you guys probably already knew this. So if I'm giving you guys old information, hey, forgive me. It's new to me, and I felt like sharing it. Obviously, when I picked up that thing of Dark Tower, I was also looking for other out-of-print Goodman games, original adventures reincarnated. And then I stumbled upon the pre-order list, and apparently they are going to be bringing out a redone version of Caverns of Thracia in October.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah, I pre-ordered that. I can't wait to. There's also some Grimtooth books, but I honestly I've never really enjoyed it. I mean, yeah, they're novel and they're cool, but I don't really I don't need them.
Yeah, Grimtooths are a fun downtime read, but honestly, I mean, just I have an infinite number of things at my disposal to off characters with in my games. I don't need convoluted traps that require all 4 characters to walk into the corners of the room and everybody grabs a chain and pulls it, and then there's some convoluted mechanism that, you know, this guy gets blasted with ice, that guy gets acid dumped on him, this guy gets eaten by beetles, and that guy gets burned alive. I don't need that. It's funny to read. You know?
Traps and Treachery was always good for 3rd edition. I can't remember who made that, but I have both copies of that. And those were kind of more simple, but they kind of showed you mechanically how some of these traps worked. I always thought that was a good resource.
I will say, though, that Grimtooth's Traps 2 has one of my favorite traps of all time in it that I would put in a dungeon just because of its simplicity. It's the amazing Ginsu Shoot. If you know, you know. It's basically, it's a frictionless tube slide pit trap, and at it branches off, and down the middle of the divide is an razor sharp adamantium blade.
I've heard about that one.
The amazing Shoot.
There's also the DCC version of Caverns of Thracia is also coming out that same day. It's October 29th. And for DCC, they're going to be releasing Hell Pits of Nightfang, which is also by Janelle Jacquet. So
very cool.
So that ought to be neat.
Hey, Bill, I have a question. What did you, because you already talked about the one pack, well, not for you a pack-in adventure, but for most of us a pack-in adventure, Keep on the Borderlands. What'd you think of the other one in the expert set, the Isle of Dread?
Isle of Dread is wonderful. Isle of Dread is something that, like, it did that dopamine release thing for me. That's Dave Cook and Tom Moldvay was Isle of Dread, and there's so much cool stuff in there. I am a big fan of adventures, books, films that include little mechanical greeblies from a bygone age that either don't work or can be made to work somewhat. And there's a couple of places like that in Isle of Dread. Like there's a broken statue with the remains of a speaking tube, and they go into explaining what they did, but obviously they're not going to work now. I love details like that. And Isle of Dread, now I realize that anybody out there that likes Mystara and that sort of thing is going to get you back up, but I'm sorry. Isle of Dread is an awesome place. If you're looking for a locale to put I almost messed up there. If you're looking for a locale to put the Hidden Shrine of Tamokan.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, one of my favorites.
Stick the Hidden Shrine off in one corner. Yeah. It fits perfectly.
Isle of Dread is one of my favorites, and it's kind of like my go-to. Like if people ask me, like, you know, because of my own stuff, people ask me like, "Hey, how would I use modern necessities like with like old school modules?" My go-to is always like do Isle of Dread and just turn it into like, you know, Kong Skull Island or like Jurassic Park or something like that. It's pretty much like perfect for that kind of stuff. So
yeah, I mean there is no winning end game condition. Right. It is a sandboxy place. You can go, you can ally yourself with the Rakatsa, the cat people. You can just run around and be murder hobos. You can meet up with the tribes people that live in the ruins that I was talking about. There is so much to do in X1, and I think it's a lovely module. I will tell people if you're going to track a copy down, just for artwork and layout, get the blue copy, not the orange copy, the newer one. I think the art on the blue copy is better. So that's just my 2 cents.
Oh, we got the question of the day here from Dadman Walking. Hey, Dadman, what would be a good way for a new person to get started in D&D? Everybody's got their own opinion on this one, so I'm gonna go around the room here, and we'll let everybody talk about it on their own. I would say don't go to 5th edition. Either pick up old school essentials, because, you know, get their BX. get what is it? White Box from Basic Expert as a nice basis. Or if you're like me, get Kevin Crawford's Scarlet Heroes, because it's the best. It's the thin, really good, easy to pick up book to learn it. Double D, what'd you say?
Drink.
I go along similar
Which
lines.
me? Sorry, go ahead.
I'd almost the same thing. Like I would not go 5th edition, only because even though it's kind of user friendly at the start, it could end up being very frustrating for a DM because there's a lot of power creep, and your players are not going to feel challenged, or you're going to feel very frustrated by not being able to challenge them after a certain point. So yeah, I would definitely say go back to some of the earlier editions. You can go back to the source material itself. You could go old school essentials. You could go, Dragon Slayer, or any of the ones that T-shirt had said. Yeah, and honestly, there's just such a wealth of stuff available out there that's already been printed that you can kind of work off of. Start there, but definitely not 5th edition. Not at this point.
Harmony?
I would say that the edition doesn't particularly matter a whole lot as much as the people you play with. I would recommend going to a game shop and seeing when they have open table days and playing as a player a few times first, and maybe that's probably going to be 5th edition, by the way, but I still think it's nice to get experience figuring out what the game should feel like from the player side. And then once you have kind of an idea of what you're doing a little bit, then going to figure out what edition you want to run. And I've only played a little bit of AD&D. I mostly play 5e, and I played a lot of 3.5 and 4. But I would recommend, I don't know what edition I'd really recommend at this point. They're all the same to me, because the edition you choose pales in comparison when it comes to making your game good as the players you have and the environment. I can have fun with 4th edition. I really can, if I have like great players and everything's coming together. But 4th edition's the worst by most people's opinions, I believe. But I'd really recommend just playing as a player first, probably at your local game shop, before really making any big purchases.
Caster?
Yeah, I guess that's kind of the issue, is that first question of like which edition we're talking. It does sort of get into this realm of where I think for a lot of people looking at this as a hobby, seeing just so many different systems, I could see the choice paralysis setting in. So the important thing is to have someone there who can kind of guide through, who can at the very least go ahead and, if not, show up with a couple of pre-made characters and go for some basic simple stuff just to help kind of do that training wheel sort of intro into the game. I mean, like many of you guys have all said, something like old school essentials would be kind of nice. That's something I've been kind of rolling through with some friends lately, and they've been enjoying it. But yeah, really kind of a lot of the basic advice has already been kind of said here. Check out some of your local game stores if any are around. And hey, there's just a wealth of online resources. There's a lot of people who have, done just that. I mean, played games online. So yeah, that's just kind of my suggestion, is check some of the local online stuff, kind of help go for some basic, simple stuff. If you feel like there's a bit much, maybe do a little bit of a basic setup scenario to kind of ease in before you start throwing them into the deep end.
Okay, Greg?
I recommend a D&D starter set from 2014 that includes the Lost Mines of Phandelver.
A lot of people like that one.
I know it's 5th edition, but it's a simplified box. It's not going to overwhelm anyone unless they're like 5. Lost Mines of Phandelver is a pretty respectable adventure. Not the best, not the worst, but easy to get into and be introduced, especially if you have any kind of background in reading fantasy novels or interest in adventure or pulp at all. Even if it's something modern, like, I don't know, like something on Amazon or Game of Thrones or something. Any person who knows about fantasy and is into it should be able to dive in with just the starter set. So that's what I would recommend.
Victor?
I pretty much agree with everyone so far. I would say it's fine to start with 5e, but like Greg, you should probably stick to like, the kind of like the 2014 stuff. Maybe once you're a little bit more advanced, like add something like Xanatar's Guide. But yeah, just stick to the basics and like don't run it, Critical Role story gamey style. Just run it as it's supposed to be run, like explore and do dungeon delves and like do cool stuff. And yeah, that's it. Just like, I think 5e is fine, and it'll probably get you more players than, for the most part, than like suddenly just jumping in with some old edition that nobody knows. So
And
yeah,
Dungeon Delver.
Well, y'all a bunch of slack-jawed apostate heretics. I can't believe I agreed to be on this program. No, listen. I think every take is completely reasonable. I mean, I know what I'd do, right? I would say get Moldvay Basic and a copy keep on Borderlands.
Yeah.
That's really an incredible. I know you think, oh well, the Grognard's Grogs, what a shocker! But it really is a soft entry point. It really, really, really is. Note, I didn't say get a copy of a Player's Handbook, a Dungeon Master's Guide, and a Monster Manual for first edition AD&D. Everything else is crap. But I would start at that point because honestly, I feel like the one can be a little overwhelmed right out of the gate with the amount of choices that later versions of D&D can offer.
Oh yeah.
It's paralysis. Yeah, exactly. Oh well, you can be a warlock tiefling with a couple of levels in this, that, and the other, and you're just like thief, magic user, cleric, fighter.
Yep. 1st
through 3rd level. Elf, dwarf, human, halfling, and that's that is enough to build the foundation. Now, I would love it if everyone would stay playing older editions of D&D. I would love it, but it's not a bad place to start. On the corporate side, my little business concern, which it's your channel t-shirted, so I'm not going to mention it by name, sure. But my corporate gig where I do DMing as team building, for suits for people, C-list people at companies, I've run AD&D first edition and original D&D for people who've never played D&D before and they grokked it. So don't think that just by dint of being an older edition, it's going to be kind of wonky and I'm going to have a little bit of difficulty getting my head around it. This basic right here, and you don't have to track down this box set. In fact, I recommend you don't, because that's going to cost a couple of $100, even when as beat up as this one is. Just get the basic rule book off drive-through, get a copy of Keep on the Borderlands off drive-through. It's a very, very, very soft and easy entry point, and it when I say limit and narrow down, I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean it in a good way.
Well, you have the ultimate selling point for these older editions. You can literally go to people and say, "Oh, do you know the game they were playing in Stranger Things? This is actually it."
Sure.
Exactly. They're not playing 5th edition with, where 9 out of the 12 original classes have, magic using ability.
Yeah.
It's this game right here.
And
exactly.
I would add a caveat really quick. Whatever you do, if you decide you want to start playing D&D, please, for the love of all that is holy, please, on Robert E. Howard's, soul, please do not start watching Critical Role.
I knew you were going to say that.
And expect that is the way the game is played.
Critical Role and its consequences have been a disaster for role-playing games. In this manifesto, I will outline... Oh, sorry.
I'm going to say something probably maybe a little bit controversial, but I would say if you're going to start with an old school version of D&D, get like Old School Essentials or one of the clones, something with like a little bit more modern language that doesn't require you to be like a 50-year-old grognard to get, because it's all contextual from like the 1970s and stuff like that. Because
that's ridiculous. The implication that somebody who picks up D&D is going to be illiterate. I'm sorry. The 50.
No, I didn't say that. I didn't say they were good. I didn't say that they're illiterate, but there is definitely a difference between somebody who might be like in their 20s or 30s. Like, I don't know. I hear this a lot, that people do have they do have trouble with like Gygaxian, even with like
you
some
don't
of the
fix Rodnock by turning up your stereo, my friend.
I agree with Victor on this one. Actually, it's a lot more approachable for new players.
Yeah.
Of course, the one thing I feel like it's almost being kind of missed out of it is just the accessibility. The question, if for someone coming into it new, they're frankly going to not know to go, check out some of their editions. It's going to be what's on the shelf at Walmart, what's on the shelf at Target, and unfortunately, that's going to be the current Wizards of the Coast book.
Sad but true. Even with Cynthia Williams gone.
There were ample role-playing games. There was even a D&D. There were earlier versions of basic D&D, and I got my head around it back then, but maybe I'm just a 50-year-old grognard. I don't know.
I mean, there are other ways to buy things now, with, like Amazon and all that. I mean, it's kind of getting keyed in and finding the first place to look, so.
I also didn't say like avoid the older editions entirely. I'm just saying like maybe start with a clone, learn the rules, and then once you're like, you get them and you're interested, then like start digging like, into the older editions to like find those like hidden gems, like, rules that aren't included in Old School Essentials and stuff.
Then it might be up to go back to the source, to go and then hunt out the original.
Well, and one thing that is very important that I think kind of got buried in my grognardiness is I think Ginger was right about find a good group.
Yeah, that is.
You can find the perfect rule set that just, makes you feel warm and fuzzy inside and everything like that. And you run across a terrible DM. It doesn't matter what tool set you give them. They're awful people, or they're awful game masters, or they're awful players. It's not going to work. So definitely find a good group.
I will speak to this really quick. Honestly, when I started out, the first book I ever found was, Moldvay Basic, and it was the red book, and it was somebody had left it behind, and I inherited it more or less because they left it behind.
D&D
but that was pretty much a D&D by osmosis. But then when I actually built my first character and went to my first game group at an open, forum type, open game store thing, it was awful. It was a horrible experience. Now, granted, I was a young shit, and my first character was ridiculous. But I didn't know what to expect going into this, so yeah, I brought the most overpowered piece of shit that I had built in about 5 minutes. Not knowing what to expect, right? And they kind of treated me accordingly, and just like killed off my character within 5 minutes. And that was a horrible experience, and I hated it. But if I had let that dissuade me right from the beginning, I wouldn't be where I am today with gaming.
What people don't realize is that, you think you need this whole group to play, and I'm here to tell you, you only need 3 people. You need a DM and 2 dependable players.
True.
I mean, what is like Fawford and the Grey Mouser, but like a 2-player adventure? You can run with that. You can make that work. In fact, I would argue in some ways it's better because you are paying a lot more attention per player. And they get almost a more rewarding experience than, say, starting out with like 4 or 5, where you're almost overwhelmed as a beginner DM. So if you can just get 2 people to play and just kind of maybe read a couple of the Fawford and Grey Mouser stories, something like that, maybe kind of steer them a little bit in that direction, you can make some hay.
Yeah, read Appendix N.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Actually, I think I was just reading something at the comic shop today about an omnibus collection of, I think, some of the comics, the Fafhrd and Grey Mouser comics coming out soon.
I have it. I already have it. I've had it for weeks.
That's
Ironcaster.
The artist by what's his face from Hellboy, right?
Mike Mignola.
Yeah.
Yeah, give me a sec.
Thanks, Yomiko.
That's neat.
Well, I mean, one of the other things is also to kind of get back to that topic was there's tools in many of these early systems, many games for hirelings and henchmen. So even with that small group like that, you feel like you don't have enough. There's the tools already in the system to be able to flesh yourselves out.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. It's.
Sure.
I mean, you can have just a simple magic user take on B2, but if he picks up some light foot and maybe gets that role, it gets like a second level fighter to accompany him out there. Yeah, there's going to be less XP rewards, but it's a lot more survivable than my 2 hit point having magic user is going to go all by his lonesome into cave A and get his neck broken when he falls in the 10-foot deep pit.
The poor guy who runs into the ogre cave first.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, I'm going to go over there under the trees. That's going to be safe. Crunch, crunch, crunch.
And the funny thing is, I've seen a lot of arguments from people saying that not Critical Role, Stranger Things is responsible for this new D&D boom and inviting all these strangers and tourists into the hobby and new players. And it's funny because if you actually watch the show, they're not playing anything that even remotely resembles a modern D&D. Almost all the characters die. So if you're getting started as a new player from Stranger Things, you're probably going to be a little disappointed. You're not going to have the same experience.
Yeah, it is a good. It's nice set dressing. It's fun to go, I had that book, or I have that book. You see Eddie and he's got a Dungeon Master screen, and you see a copy of Dragon magazine laying on the table or whatever. It's fun set dressing, but it entirely belies the notion of how D&D actually works. But that's fine, because that's not what Stranger Things is about. If the show was called D&D Things and it was just about people who played D&D and that's how they presented it, it would be worth getting up in arms about. But I mean,
the first season captured the feel.
Yeah,
it certainly captured that feel. When those kids are in the basement, like I think all of us, who are, I don't know, probably just me and Bill in this regard. It captured, that exact kind of moment in time, in feel, even if it wasn't maybe technically, correct.
You got to remember,
actually,
I was trailer park trash, so we didn't have basements in our trailers.
The beginning of E.T. when they're like playing D&D? I'm one of those kids. I'm one of those kids. I'm actually in that movie.
There you go. I got a super chat really quick from Mercurius, who is always really good about making a donation for Australia. And $2 is, I've arrived a bit late. Nice to see a big panel. And you didn't select a clip, so I'm going to select one for you, but I'm going to preface it by saying, just kind of to further add on to the point, whatever you do for a D&D experience, please do not take one of these as an appropriate D&D setting.
The world of The Witcher, Blood Origin, is a medieval realm divided into 3 kingdoms that have been at war for 1,000 years. Want to explore the exotic serpent clan who serve the southern kingdom of Darwin? Well, be introduced to a mix of Caucasian, Black, Asian, and Latino people you would find in relative proportion in metropolitan Los Angeles. What about the Raven clan that defends the northern kingdom of Prussia, a place where the inhabitants are the same mix of Caucasian, Black, Asian, and Latino in relative proportion to metropolitan Los Angeles? Finally, take a journey to the mysterious far-off kingdom of Zintrea, where the folk are the same mix of Caucasian, Black, Asian, and Latino in relative proportion to metropolitan Los Angeles. But don't fear, if you still have a yearning for exotic medieval fantasy, then embark on a journey of escapist epic adventure in Willow, set in the ancient kingdom of Ter Azlin, where the folk are the same mix of Caucasian, Black, Asian, and Latino in relative proportion to metropolitan Los Angeles. and from there be swept away in the grand fantasy spectacle of the Lord of the Rings of Power, where the insular island society of Numenor is made up of a mix of Caucasian, Black, Asian, and Latino people in relative proportion to metropolitan Los Angeles. Then be swept forth to the distant and utterly different geography and climate of the Southlands, a pastoral folk made up of exactly the same mix of Caucasian, Black, Asian, and Latino people in relative proportion to metropolitan Los Angeles.
Never
United
stops
Colors
being
of
funny.
Benetton.
Oh, no kidding. And I think you can add God, what's that other fantasy show that came out not so long ago that you could kind of add to that list?
Wheel of Time?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wheel of Time.
Willow?
Yes, Wheel of Time. No, Willow was in there.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, but Wheel of Time is definitely one of those. Yeah, everybody here kind of looks very cosmopolitan. That's great.
The women in those books were already insufferable, and then I was just thinking, like, what is Amazon going to do to them? I saw 5 minutes of it.
Ugh.
Women insufferable? Never.
I'm of the opinion that the only correct role playing game setting set in Los Angeles would be an Escape from Los Angeles.
Yeah, pretty much.
My wife still loves that scene with the plastic surgeon. She brings
Oh
it
God,
up to this day.
But,
Bruce Campbell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think things have gotten bad enough that we're due for Snow Crash, filmed on location. If you haven't read Stevenson's book, it's I think we're just about there. We've got we've got the tribalism. I think you could just go film on location and give people weird hairdos, and then that'd pretty much be it.
Didn't they announce that they're doing Neuromancer now as a show?
Oh, I hadn't heard that, but God, they better get it right.
I saw that recently that they're doing Neuromancer. So
they did announce we're getting a Golden Axe show.
That's I mentioned that early on, and I don't know if Bill's heard this yet, but yes, Comedy Central has announced that they are going to be doing a Golden Axe animated series based on the old Sega game that we used to plunk quarters in by the ton.
I bet it's going to be Cal Arts bean mouth style.
God, no!
Like the Thundercats.
I know what you mean.
So the current, I guess the company working on is Titmouse, which is doing that Tales of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cartoon.
They're not bad.
Oh, is that the one with the kind of urban style? Or no?
Yeah.
I gotta look that up now.
I don't know.
One of them had a real interesting art style. Go on.
They're doing The Last Ronin now as like a movie or cartoon or whatever. So that's
I did hear that.
The Ninja Turtles where everyone except for is it Raphael or Leonardo? One of them has died.
I mean,
yeah, Raphael.
The thing is though, the art style could go either way because this is the same company that gave us the Venture Brothers and Metalocalypse.
Well, yeah, I mean, the preview,
as well as Big Mouth.
If you watch the preview for that Tales of the TMNT or whatever, it looks just like the shows you just mentioned. It's 2D. The movie that it's based on, which is, Mutant Mayhem, was kind of a weird, computer generated stop motion, trying to emulate almost like a weird stop motion thing. But yeah, the cartoon is just going to be a cartoon.
Mm. I did want to hit the panel with something really quick because we're already over an hour, so if most people are probably expecting to go, but okay, so there's been kind of a little bit of a some YouTube back and forth on this, and I'm not really sure what to make of it yet. I think it's kind of too little, too late, to be quite honest. But we got the news this week that Cynthia Williams resigned from Wizards of the Coast.
Did a video on it.
Yep, and you did a video on it, and Double D did a video on it, and Pundit refuted that video, and Double D did another video countering that.
He refuted the live stream, he did his video, and then I made a video refuting his refutal.
Why do you guys argue with Pundit? I mean...
It's not really arguing. It's not really arguing with him.
People get on me about old man shakes fist at cloud. Anyway, I'm sorry. Please continue.
Well, I'm just curious what anybody thinks about this, because my opinion of it right now is it's kind of like it's like a so. I mean, I feel like the dragon has already stomped through the kingdom and destroyed everything it possibly can, and burnt who it wanted to, and carried off all the money it wanted to, as well as whatever nubile young maidens it wanted to. So all that's left behind is just, the poor, downtrodden, half-burnt survivors and stuff trying to rebuild what's left of the place while it's still on fire. So,
yeah,
she didn't even know what D&D was. So,
yeah.
She wasn't the only one, but I mean, she's gutted what was left, and there was hardly anything left when she took over. So,
yeah, that may be why she left.
Yeah, and it's almost beside the point to argue. Well, did she get pushed out? Did she quit? I mean, I obviously think she left of her own accord, because I kind of look at the financials. I'm a CPA, and I didn't see enough there where they would push out, especially a woman in corporate America in 2024. They weren't that bad. She made a lot of missteps from a PR perspective for sure, but the bottom line, which is quite frankly all Hasbro cares about, they're probably fine with her. They probably wanted her to stay on a couple more years.
I think she got voluntold to leave. And the reason is we are on the cusp of a new edition of D&D.
Mm-hmm.
And every time there's been a new release of D&D, all the way back to first edition AD&D, corporate, whether it's Brian and Kevin Bloom and Gary Gygax, whether it was Lorraine Williams, whether it was Ryan Dancy and Peter Atkinson, whether it was whoever was in charge when 4th Ed came out, or when 5th Ed came out, they've all said the same thing. This new D&D is the most popular version ever, and it's outselling the previous one. Now, that's porpoising, all right? Because what happens when an edition starts to get moribund, it starts to dive. But it also builds up speed as it dives. When you grab the controls and pull up, you've still got that effect. And everybody wants the shiny new. Everybody wants to see what you did to fix it. So it rockets right out of the gate. 4E saw great sales. 4E's new sales were started off by outselling previous quarter sales of 3rd edition. But 3rd edition was at the point where you could buy D&D 3rd Ed books from Wizards of the Coast by the foot or the pound at gaming conventions. Every edition does that. But the point is, you see an uptick when it comes out. Why would you not want that on your resume? Why would you not want, I helmed the company through the release of the most popular edition of D&D to date? Why wouldn't you want that? Anyone would. Hell, if they called me tomorrow and said, hey, Bill, you want to come and babysit this thing for a few months till D&D 6 comes out? Hell yeah.
Unless she's seeing things behind the scenes that make her pause and say, I don't want to have any part of this.
Things behind the scenes. Exactly. So either that's true, in which case hold on to your seats, or they didn't want her associated with 6E, which means there's some real stink on it. But what will be the tell will be where she lands.
True.
If she decides to take a step back from the corporate world and spend time with her family, then she was almost certainly fired, and there was considerable cause. If she immediately jumps into another job, which I could see her going back to Microsoft, to be honest, then odds are she left of her own accord, because 6th Ed is going to stink on ice, and Magic is going to slowly sputter to the point where it's no longer just like printing money. That is my unofficial caveman lawyer take on things, which I know I'm saying either she got quit or she got fired. But no,
a good analysis.
I lean towards she was fired. She was essentially told to throw herself on her sword. And companies like at that C level, you do not put in your 2 weeks notice. You have to go to the Federal Trade Commission. All right. You don't quit on Monday and clean out your office on Friday and then go get another job at another company. That is, when you're talking about $1 billion company, multiple billions of dollars of company, you have to talk to the government. You have to say, well, I'm leaving this company. Why are you leaving this company?
That's what happened. It was in an SEC filing, I think.
Yeah, exactly. You know, what assets are you taking with you? Are you staying invested in this company? Are you going to another company? And will you be in a controlling share in that company? What will you communicate back to the company you just left? It's not quit Best Buy and go to work at Target.
I would just say though that the fact that they said there was, she was going to leave at 2 weeks down the road. Look, in my experience, that's never happened. When we've had CEOs leave at my company, it's like, thank you for your service, appreciate everything. They're gone. Here's who's going to interim replace them until we can launch a search for the next one. Every single time.
Certainly some truth to that. Like I said, I'm not a financial brained guy, so but
you could be. You were bang on with if she ends up somewhere pretty soon, then it was of her own accord. But if it takes her a while, then there's certainly you and Pundit could be right in that respect. Then she got pushed out.
I learned something about hirings and firings in high visibility positions from my dad, because we used to talk about this all the time. Is you'd have a coach and there would be a question. It starts off with rumblings about if you guys know college sports at all, Paul Feinbaum saying, is Coach Smith in trouble at College University? And then Coach Smith will come out Friday before the game and say, look, I'm not going anywhere. I'm family with these guys. These guys are like family to me. All right. Coach Smith is staying here at College University, and you can bet the bank on that. Then they lose on Saturday. Coach Smith comes back and says, well, we went down swinging. It's been a challenging season, but I can assure you, we're going to learn from this and we're going to build. Then on Sunday, the regents of College University issue a statement and they say, we stand behind Coach Smith 100% in whatever he wants to do.
Kiss of death.
Coach Smith is like a brother to us, and we're with Coach Smith all the way. Monday morning, Coach Smith's office, not Coach Smith, he doesn't come out and give a presser. Coach Smith's office says, I've decided to step back and spend some time with family. Tuesday, the regents release a statement and say, we wish Coach Smith the best of luck in whatever he's doing. And
something else.
That is they tell. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, something else you were saying too is assuming that she was smelling something in the kitchen and decided to leave before the fire consumes the kitchen. It does kind of it would look good for her just because, like you said, she'd be riding the wave of good numbers when she left. And then later on she could point back and say, look at what happened after I left. They tanked, they crashed, they burned. That happened because I wasn't there.
Yeah.
But then she could also turn on, if this next edition does in fact do well, she could say, I set them up to be able to do this.
Yes. The Iger thing.
It's a little bit of it's a bit of a catbird seat right now, where she can kind of sit back and basically, no matter which way the company goes, she could say, well, this is clearly because of my either being there or my not being there. I mean, she was brought in not for the game side of things, but for a lot of the behind the scenes restructuring, and that you combine with that all of the technology advances that have been coming up. Like, how many times have they been whacked on the fingers for the AI? Like, they are going through a lot of changes internally right now, just due to that technology advancement.
And VTT is on everybody's lips with D&D Beyond.
And that was what she was brought in for.
It's what they want. It's what they want, though. It's what Wizards wants. They want to do this. They want to bring it pretty much, fully electronic.
I can't wait to see Bill just jump in there and jump on the VTT and get on board with everybody else and roll them digital dice. And
this is my virtual tabletop. Here is my icon. That's my double click on that, bitches.
I got your double click right here.
Got your double click.
That's right. I paint too many damn miniatures to go and buy a piece of digital, crap.
Exactly.
Because there's love in those miniatures. Even the shittiest of my paint jobs has more love in it than, paying $5 to buy some icon that's dressed up the way you want it to be.
Yeah.
But the thing is, though, with that in mind, again, people looking at to come in and, whatever the next edition is, 5 years down the road, people coming in wanting to play Dungeons & Dragons for the first time, into this hobby, they aren't going to know to go out here and go check out all this stuff. Like, oh, I want to go check out Fantasy Ultima.
Mm-hmm.
Fabulous
Ultima.
And which Bob just got today. It's gonna be, I'm gonna check this out. And, it comes with a code where I can have this access to all this stuff. It's this is the calm before all of that is becoming par of the course for the norm, where people are gonna buy the book and then get that code for the digital copy. I mean, heck, Fabulous Ultima has that rate built into it with this. I can get a PDF copy of this now.
And something, I've been saying this for a while, and I hate the idea. I hate the implication of it. But I kind of think that WotC's kind of given the big middle finger to the friendly local gaming stores, because I think they're looking to cut them out even further and further. It's the same bullshit that we saw when Marvel and DC were trying to do more of the digital comic stuff and cut out and kill the comic book stores.
Well, the thing is, though, they tried it, but the reality is the audience just wasn't there for it ever to begin with. If anything, it was the comic shops that were doing a lot more freaking out about that than anyone else. Like, they were afraid, they're trying to eliminate us, which, yeah, if you could say they might have tried, but the reality was the audience that they were trying to sell this to never took up on it. Well, they put those codes right into the comics. They made it as accessible as possible. Audience still didn't care.
Yep.
Well, I'm going to do a thing and say something positive about Wizards of the Coast. This actually went by on the radar. I keep meaning to go back and do a video on it, and I might still. Wizards of the Coast deepened their discounts to retailers. Did you guys catch that?
No, I didn't.
No.
Yeah. This was a good couple of weeks ago. It was on ICV, I think. But yeah, at FLGS's. And I mean, it could be a case of buy more 5e now. Get this crap out of our warehouses, and then that'll be rescinded. I mean, but I reward good behavior, right? But I think in hindsight of the cutting ties with Random House, which was really more of a Random House decision than it was Wizards of the Coast, it kind of limited FLGSs, and I know this from a couple of friends of mine who have a local gaming store here in town, that it does limit where they can get their books from. So maybe they're trying to put a little bit of cream on that, to make it sting a little less. I don't know. I don't know enough about the financial side of this. I'm a guts and heart kind of guy when it comes to that sort of thing, not so much a brains. So.
Yeah. Well, I was just curious.
You were talking T-shirted about like them abandoning FLGSs. I mean, that could just also, I don't know, maybe it's just the way of things. Like, I was in a Best Buy yesterday looking at like the Xbox games. I mean, the shelf is just incredibly small, and it's just because everybody just downloads their games now. So yeah. I mean, it's like, is Xbox or is Microsoft or Sony, are they screwing over their retailers? I don't know. It's just,
well, I mean, when's the last
way
time
the market wants it?
When's the last time you bought a Blu-ray in the store? I mean, are there any Blu-rays on the shelves to buy? I mean,
not at Best Buy.
Best Buy's getting rid of them. I think.
Yeah, Best Buy's getting rid of them. I'm sure Walmart will at some point too, and that'll be the real
I've
death.
made that prediction that I think this year we'll see that the physical media taken out of Walmart.
Oh, your movies, boys and girls. So
that's right.
So in your movies or your music, do not let them come at you and say, we have always been at war with East Asia.
Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly.
Well, on that front, there was the story that came out towards the end of last year where Disney's turning to Sony to do their home releases for physical media. So Disney's kind of stepping back and away from it to let another company step in and take over for them.
Nice. Maybe we'll get Song of the South.
Hey,
I was just thinking that, but no, that's never going to happen. So
Harmony, you're muted. Or how about the original Fantasia with all the extra footage cut back in?
I've got that one on Laserdisc.
I've heard about my friend has told me about that one because he saw the original because he's like in his 70s. So, but yeah, he told me about the little was it the Black Mule centaurs and stuff that got cut from all the other releases because of racism.
Wait a minute, that was cut?
That's what I heard.
I remember watching that religiously on like Disney Channel when I was a kid.
My LD player needs to be recapped, so I haven't seen it in probably 20 years now.
There's no way you don't have a whole set in that room for recapping things.
Believe it or not, I have not gotten on board, no pun intended, with recapping, but okay. I need to. I've got like an absolutely amazing 27-inch flat panel monitor that I will not throw away because I know it's just the motherboard needs to be recapped, and I've got the Laserdisc player and some other odds and ends. But I mean, if you could see my hobby table right now, it is awash with paints and minis right at the moment, so I have no room.
I want to go for that leaded solder. Makes me feel all squirrely.
I was going to say, who here wants to bet actual money that Bill has got a Betamax somewhere?
I do not. I do have a VCR in a closet somewhere, but I don't have the Betamax. I just
I used to have one.
But I do have the Laserdisc player, Pioneer CLD 990, which was like the first model they made without a serial port, which makes me sad. I wish it had a serial port so I could control it with my computer, but what are you going to do?
Nice.
Soon, if you want to watch like an old VHS tape, you're gonna have to go to Old Earth and like go on a whole adventure to like get like the VHS player, like like in Cowboy Bebop. Anyone
and
remember
the
that
cables
episode?
for it.
Yeah,
and the cables for it.
Yeah, my buddy Mike, who I follow on YouTube, is a VHS collector. Sorry for his story. I know we're over time, but he's got thousands and thousands and thousands of them, and he started his YouTube channel uploading random VHS tapes that he just pops in, and whatever's on the tape he'll upload. And they're all on his YouTube channel, and he's found some creepy stuff like stalkers from like home movies where this guy was like filming women, like really weird stuff you want to contact the FBI about.
Ooh. And I got a super chat here from Mercurius. Thank you again for Australian $2. You still buy CDs, DVDs, and Blu-rays? Hey, me too, man. And I show them off every time I do on the stream, just so people can realize that these things are out there and you're still available to buy, and you probably need to get them before they go extinct, because they will go extinct at some point. And since you did not specify a clip, I shall choose this one because we haven't heard this in a long time. But if you guys are ever considering playing a bard, may I suggest the hurdy-gurdy?
My co-author Frank has one. He knows.
Oh, what an awesome dude!
But of course, he's a multi-talented musical.
Well, what doesn't he have? Fucking stupid Renaissance man. Hate him.
Yeah,
he's such an awesome dude, man. He sounds like literally he is the dude they have whenever they post up pictures of the most interesting man in the world.
Yeah, and that's why he sucks. I don't like him. He stinks, and I don't like him.
He's only ever been on one stream, and that was the metal stream with me and the basic expert. I think Victor was on there briefly.
Yeah, I dropped towards the end there to kind of fuel my rivalry with him.
But back to this quick topic again with the physical media, not even CDs will last. I've seen studies, and there's articles out there on technical websites that say where storing plastic discs vertically, like over time, like the plastic will actually start to deform, because it's almost like, how pitch drips like so slowly. It takes like 40 years or whatever for it to, start to drip, but it's kind of the same principle.
Well, I guarantee you my CDs are going to last a hell of a lot longer than those damn vinyl records that everybody's so popular, trying to recollect everything. Like, there's a reason we got away from those.
Yeah. Well, CDs are vintage now, which is crazy to me.
Yeah.
Cassette tapes made a surge in sales last year.
Really?
Yeah.
I liked cassette tapes back when I was a kid because they were portable, but damn, those things would get chewed up all the time.
Yeah.
I
Well,
would assume that they... Go ahead.
they're collectible in the same way that Game Boy games or something are collectible. People like the artwork. They like to have like a huge shelf with all the cool little artwork and stuff. It's a collector thing.
Mm.
I still have my Commodore with the cassette tapes. So yeah.
I had a cassette deck in my car, my last car, before I got my new one for the longest time, and I was still able to play Power Slave on it.
In fact, I have a list here real quick of the top 10 best-selling cassette tapes of 2023.
No.
I'm curious.
Oh, okay, fine.
Send it to me. Send it to me. It's fine. We don't gotta do it.
That's fine. That's fine. Go ahead.
Number 1, Guardians of the Galaxy Awesome Mix Volume 1. 18,000 units.
It's the kids.
Not very many.
Yeah,
number 2
units.
Small number.
Good.
Number 2, Taylor Swift.
Ew. No.
Why?
Number 3 and 4, Guardians of the Galaxy Volumes 2 and 3.
It's because of the movies that those are selling.
Well, yeah.
Pattern.
Taylor Swift again.
What?
Michael Jackson's got to be on there.
Yeah.
Nirvana's number 6.
Yeah, I don't get that. The kids all like Nirvana now, and I'm just kind of like, you guys are like so far from the grunge movement, you don't even understand what it was about.
Yeah, but I mean,
It wasn't about anything.
I like 60s and 70s music. I wasn't a fucking hippie. I was like, wasn't even a gleam in my dad's eye yet. So yeah.
Point.
But
At number 7 is Metallica, 72 seasons. And then Guardians of the Galaxy, the Cosmic Mix.
Oh, God.
Sensing a pattern here.
Barbie, the album.
Oh,
Of
shit. I need to
course.
buy that one, actually.
Makes sense.
Play it in my car.
Phoebe Bridgers. I have no idea who this is.
I've never heard of them.
cassette tapes are extraordinarily expensive to manufacture. In fact, as far as I know, there's only 2 companies in the United States that still do it. I know because I had to shop for one for my Dungeon Synth album, which I still have copies of, and like it was more than what I wanted it to be to get that done.
Well, the thing is, nobody makes precision cassette drives anymore. If you buy a tape player, even if it's from Sony or somebody like that, the mech in it is made by one company. I can't remember the name of the company, but there's a guy on YouTube, Techmoan, and he just does like teardowns of audio stuff. And all modern tape players have that same drive in them, and they're shit. They are they're noisy. They are badly put together. You're going to hear rattles and squeaks out of your deck when you play. So it's not like buying a tape deck in like even in the mid 90s, back when Sony was like, yeah, we make our own drives. No, it's one company now, and they're garbage.
Oh, sure. You can buy an old school looking radio too on like a Chinese website like Alibaba. But if you get it, it's not going to be analog. You open it up and there'll be a tiny little chip in there. That's going to be a digital thing.
So I don't know about the US, obviously, but over here in like thrift stores and stuff, they still like have like whole shelves full of like old ass, like, like the music stations with like tape decks and like a record player and all that stuff. So and like a lot of times, like they're like pretty much brand new because just some old lady owned them and like never used them, but just sat on the shelf for like 40 years. And then you pick that up for like, I don't know, like 10 euros. And you've got like an awesome like old school sound system. So yeah.
And Aries mentioned China, so
China, that's where the fun is at. China, that's where the fun is at.
Yeah, like over in Europe, I'm sure there's still a lot of CRTs from like companies like Bang & Olufsen and stuff like that. But over here, Goodwill has stopped carrying CRTs. You can't find them. If they pop up for like hundreds of dollars, it's like they're always advertised
Vintage.
as retro. Yeah.
yes,
Like,
retro. That's the new word for old shit.
Console gamers want them because of the response time on them versus cheap flat screen TVs.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which is a problem that has been mostly solved, but still.
Dude, I remember at my college, the fighting game nerds had this like,
Yes.
big CRT that they would lug into the media room every day, and everyone thought they were crazy.
Mm-mm.
There was this nice flat screen up there that they could use.
We had a CRT HD TV, like in the
I remember
like
those. Yeah.
somewhere in the early 2000s. They came and went like so quickly, and they weighed like a metric ton.
Yes.
They were
Yeah.
so heavy, but the picture was actually pretty good.
That's
Those are
because
not-
like
Go
I was
ahead.
going to say those things were shielded with like metal casings surrounding all the electronics. That's why they were so damn heavy.
Yeah,
Well,
There's,
they're all shielded because they have leaded glass because they're shooting X-rays directly at your face. So they have to have like a thick leaded glass in order to prevent you from getting cancer.
There's this great photo of John Carmack when Quake 2 was being developed, and he's sitting in his workstation giving an interview, and behind him is his monitor, and it's a 25 or possibly even 27 inch 16 by 9 CRT monitor.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's crazy. I mean, you know, it was insanely expensive. Of course, it had VGA inputs on it because he was developing PC stuff at the time. But I mean, that's nuts. That thing must have weighed as much as an engine block.
Yeah, we had a 32 inch, and ours did pretty much weigh as much. I mean, it took three of us to get it out. I mean, two of us could have done it, but I didn't want a hernia, so we had to have somebody steadying it. Good Lord.
All right, I got to scoot, guys. I got to get ready for the Nerd Council of Doom tonight. But thank you for having me on.
Absolutely. We actually should have stopped like about 30 minutes ago, but I was having so much fun, and you guys were on a roll, and you know, it was one of those times where it's kind of like, you know, let's just let things roll and see how they go.
That's
Can I
almost
get a
like
quick
it could
plug
be a
before I
2-hour
get
show.
out?
Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, can I give a quick plug before I dip?
Absolutely.
I'm stealing your co-host. Harmony Ginger is going to be on the show on Monday.
Awesome.
All right, everybody. I got to get. Y'all have fun.
Bye.
See you later. Do as the werewolf librarian does. Like and subscribe. Peace.
Please, because I'm getting closer. I'm getting so close now. And I just got to get that push. Yeah. Just it's funny. I almost have 3,000 subscribers on Twitter. So it's like if half of those people would sub to my channel, I'd be through it, and it'd be a done thing.
I've told you this before. You got to make regular videos. They'll punish you if you don't.
Yeah, the live streams don't
It's the
work.
game. Oh yeah, no, they'll punish you for live streams.
Yeah,
I mean,
they do.
So that's why it's taking you so long. If you just put any kind of video content out there, I guarantee you, like after about 3 weeks, you'd notice like a difference because it's just the way the algorithm works. It's not fair.
I do in fact have a video coming out, and I'm told it's on the cusp of being ready to go. It's kind of a secret project, but not so secret project that I started like the beginning of this year, like I don't know, like last year. Animane, who is kind of like my video producer and stuff, has been pushing me to start doing a Fist of the North Star lore series, and I submitted the first 2.5 things to him, the voiceovers and stuff. So he's been working on a video for it, and it's just about ready to go. And I'm kind of excited about it because, Fist of the North Star is my jam. And I'm hoping, even if I don't hit all of the wonderful lore that a lot of the other people have in their videos or in the, on the websites and all that at the very least, people who are new to the series can listen to it and enjoy it and kind of get an insight into the awesome world of Fist of the North Star, because it's the progenitor for so many other good anime out there, so many good fighting anime. They owe their existence to Fist of the North Star, including Berserk. But anyway.
Sweet.
Yep.
Sweet. Good luck.
Thank you. We'll get there. It's just a slog. That's all.
Honestly,
and I knew it would be.
It's just a mile point. I mean, I've been monetized for a while, but honestly, it's still like most of my income, I guess now comes from both super chats and channel memberships. Do you have memberships yet, T-shirt?
I do, but I want to go ahead and hit that 1K subscriber base, and then start offering memberships as a way to supplement the channel, just in case the YouTube thing doesn't work. But
I have almost 3,500 subscribers, and I'm still not monetized because I don't have the viewing hours.
Yeah.
I could monetize, but it's just a massive inconvenience for people, and I would only get $50, so it's not worth it.
Well, I'm not looking to live on it. I'm just looking to at least make a little bit of money on it. I mean, it would be nice if the hobby paid for itself, kind of thing.
Well, also you can get super chats and like all that stuff. So
yeah, it's always worth it. I mean, the new books don't pay for themselves. So
yeah.
But anyway, thanks for hanging out with us today. DD, thanks for coming up on short notice and then being my co-host.
Anytime.
Harmony, thank you for making it today. Victor, Greg,
Thanks for having me.
Caster, thank you for surprising us. Dungeon Delver, if you're catching us on the rebound, thank you for making it today. Appreciate everybody. Catch us. I don't know if Grim or what Grim is running tomorrow. I think it's that furry game, which should be interesting.
Iron Claw.
Iron Claw, yeah. I've never heard of that one, so I'm really curious about it.
That's a shock. What? Never mind.
Yeah,
What do you mean?
I thought you have known about that.
I'm not a furry. Greg, that's your thing.
I don't know anything about it.
He does protest too much.
And then, of course, catch us on Tuesday for Tuesday with Geeks, where hopefully we'll get Harmony again, but I don't know, maybe not. But at least we'll have Ironcaster.
You never know.
You never know.
Depends on how I feel on Tuesdays.
Fair enough. And don't forget to catch Double D on his channel, Diversity and Dragons, because he's putting out videos all the time. And
this Wednesday we'll have Mono y Mono, the Dukaroo, me and Pundit.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Let's
see how that goes.
Have fun with that.
Yeah, I know Victor's over the moon on that.
Yeah. I'm definitely going to watch. I can't wait.
All right, everybody. Y'all take care out there in YouTube land, and we will see y'all later.
Bye-bye.
On behalf of the staff of the Independent California Motel, I wish you all sweet dreams.